As a janitor, Nene Renyaguza cleans up messes. Fitting because for years he felt like his life was one big mess. A husband and father to 3 young kids, he had big dreams for his family. Then a deadly attack changed his life forever. Nene's journey brought him here to the idyllic Midwestern setting of Columbia, Missouri. But his painful and dramatic story has its roots some 7,000 miles away, home to one of the world's deadliest conflicts. Born and raised in war-torn Congo, Nene, whose mother and siblings were kidnapped in village raids, spent much of his life on the run. The day his world turned upside down mirrors the bloodshed between Hutus and Tutsis in neighboring countries depicted in the film Hotel Rwanda.
Oh, Jesus, no. Oh, Simon, Papa.
Turn up.
It started like any other night. But then, gunfire awakened his sleeping family. Raiders were attacking the village. Since the attackers usually targeted the men first, Nene told his wife to take the children and run, while he ran the other direction, hoping to spare their lives.
What we said was, it's only God who can save us now. Let's run.
He returned the following morning to a heartbreaking scene. All the village houses burned to the ground. He was told his wife and kids were dead.
It was at that time that I realized I'll never see them again.
Alone and fearing another attack, Nene decided to flee, praying,
God, if we are Christians, why is this happening? But in my heart, I felt a voice saying, look at the life of Job. So I realized what I was going through was not even difficult.
2 months later, he found safe harbor, traveling nearly 1,000 miles from his home in Congo to Rwanda, then on to Uganda, and finally Kenya. All the while, he relied on his faith in God and the help of strangers. After 3 years in Kenya came good news. He was going to America as a refugee.
I was happy, but I said, God, if my family was alive, I could have gone with them to the United States.
Nene made mid-Missouri his home. The only thing he brought with him was the Bible he escaped with during the raid, and in it, a picture of his wife, Francine. Hoping to put his painful past behind him, Nene poured himself into his work, just as he did farming, teaching, and preaching in Congo. He also pledged never to remarry unless he knew for sure Francine was dead.
I had a feeling that maybe my family could be alive. But when I looked around in the natural, I said, no, I am cheating myself. But in my spirit, I felt strengthened.
Nene found work as a custodian, but his true calling is the ministry. He leads African worship services every Sunday here at First Baptist Church in Columbia, where his congregation, co-workers, and friends have become family and a network of support.
Instantly, our hearts were just connected, and he just became my son.
One of his biggest supporters is Charlotte Gaddy. They met when he came to her bank applying for a car loan and bonded over their common faith in Christ. Nene calls her Mama Charlotte and her husband Papa Steve and says he no longer feels like an orphan. A year after coming to America, Nene received an unexpected phone call. His wife and all 3 children were alive in Kenya. But he'd wait another 4 years, enduring holdups like outbreaks, paperwork, and canceled flights. When they finally got the green light, Mama Charlotte sprang into action, helping with immigration details and finding a place big enough for the family to live. With the help of donors and fellow believers, she organized a citywide effort to furnish the family's new home.
We went from an empty apartment within a week, a completely furnished apartment, from everything from tennis shoes to silverware to, God supplied everything, and everything was color coordinated.
Last summer, after 11 years apart, Nene finally reunited with his family. The couple shared their experience with CBN News.
Once I saw them coming through the doors, it was overwhelming. I cried there at the airport.
They say their story can only be described as a miracle.
Deep in my heart, I knew my husband was dead because we had witnessed so many times the raiders coming in and killing the men in the village or taking them into the bush. And later we would find the bodies of people who have been killed there. Looking back and seeing what happened, the only thing I can say is this is God's doing.
It was like another wedding we have gone through. we have been wedded, my wife and our children.
I asked Francine what she thought when she first saw her husband.
When I last saw him in Congo, he was younger. He has grown older. He has started losing hair on his head.
No, I'm still young.
Nene, when you saw her, did she look the same or even more beautiful?
Beautiful, very beautiful.
Nene and his family have spent the last several months getting to know each other. His kids, whom he last saw as toddlers, are now all teens, adjusting to life in America. And he's getting to know an orphaned boy his wife found and adopted after the village raid. But it doesn't end there. This spring, Francine and Nene will welcome their fifth child, a baby boy they plan to name Israel.
This is a baby of joy.
To me, it's like a present I have been given.
Nene admits it's tough supporting the family on his income, not to mention having to repay the U.S. government nearly $8,000 for the family's flight to the U.S. But he says he's grateful and wouldn't change a thing. Meanwhile, his family's still inspiring those in the community and all who hear their story.
This couple represents so much in faithfulness of God and their vows to each other and the holiness of the vows. And they were faithful to the vow to God, and they were faithful to each other. And God used that in a miraculous way.
John Jessup, CBN News, reporting in Columbia, Missouri.